What's up, ugly ass niggas? This your boy J Miles, and now I'm back with another video. And you know what to do. If you're new, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, leave a like, comment, let me know what you're thinking, but most importantly, make sure you share it with your ugly friends. On today's video, we will be covering the Power Universe, and this one right here is titled The Parallels Among the Families. Now, to be more precise on what it is I mean by the parallels among the families, is I will be showing you guys the parallels throughout the generations of power, of all the characters, how all of them have certain similarities so you can know which character matches with this character. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to point out a lot of key components of these characters that they have in common that you guys probably didn't notice in while watching it, and then also using these these similarities to predict what's going to happen moving forward with these new spin-offs. And of course we still have Forrest and Raising Kanan to finish up. So, without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into this. Now, we're going to start this thing off with your boy, of course, as you can see, Marvin Thomas. The reason why I'm starting with Marvin Thomas is because Marvin is the only character that we can go back far, that we know used to be the top dog in the streets at one point of time. And as far as we can go back, that we know a whole lot about. Like, we know about Def Con, you know what I'm saying? We know about High Post. We know both of them was that guy back in the day. But we don't really know much about them, right? Like Def Con, we never seen them on the screen. And High Post, we only seen them in one episode. So we really don't know much about them. So let's go ahead and describe Marvin and his hand on, where the direction of who was running the streets took. So, according to Raquel, we know that he was at first at the top, but of course he was arrested because he was getting high off his own supply, and it became so careless that he asked the cop that he wanted to buy a quarter from him when he came to his house. So with that being said, we do know that Rock took over for him after that. And but this is the thing. Rock didn't take over for Marvin right after because High Post was in play. So we know that no, it can't be that way. So I said it right. We know that High Post must have came after Marvin. I'm going to tell you how. So, we got confirmation through Rock that Marvin was the top dog before her. And then, keep in mind, Howard, in the first season somewhere, was speaking with Unique, and he was saying that we know that one of the worst things to happen to the South Side was Raquel Thomas taking over for High Post. So that means that she must have gotten in the position right after High Post was taken out. So if we already know through Rock that Marvin was over the organization before her, then that means he must have been over High Post. So I'm guessing High Post must have been his second in command, right? And then he took over for him after. And so I would say that Def Con probably was over Marvin. So I'm guessing Def Con was like that dude that was over everybody. Because what I'm going to be showing you guys is that you're going to have certain guys that's like the top tier kingpins, and then you're going to have certain ones that's like, mid-level. I'm going to show y'all the difference as we go on throughout this video. But Marvin would be classified as a mid-level. And I'm going to show you how. Because Def Con, he was a top tier. He was over everybody, like running like maybe the whole 5 boroughs, similar to how Ghost was doing, right? But anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next slide. So, High Post, as I kind of already touched on that, we know that High Post was taken out because they said he was snitched, on someone or whatever. But in my opinion, I believe Rock, set him up. Either way, that's not really important. What's important is that Rock took over after High Post. We know this. So, and after that, that's when Rock formed her trio. Because this is what you guys are going to notice throughout these parallels of the different families that we're going to be discussing. So there's always, actually it's going to be a trijuple. So it's going to be a 4-way. But the 3 is going to be tighter than the 4. It's going to be always one that's like the close friend of the family, but not quite, the same as the others. We're gonna see. I'm gonna show you guys that throughout the video. But anyways, though, we know that the first trio is that we know of is Rock, Lou, and Marvin. Now we know Marvin is the muscle. He's the enforcer. Lou is the analytical / and can get down also as well. And then of course, Rock is the manipulative brains of the organization. That was their, that is their trio, right? Now, Lou actually has the characteristics that he actually could probably make a better, a better boss than Rock could. But the problem is with him is he doesn't really have a desire to do so. Because for one thing, he's the younger brother. So he's just following behind his siblings. Now, the reason why I mention that is because you're going to see a repetitive pattern of that type of character consistently doing this. And you're going to also see the same with what I described Marvin and Rock's character to be. Anyway, let's go ahead a little further. Real quick, I wanted to point out, keep in mind about what I said about Lou. He has the characteristics and stuff to do all of these things, but he just doesn't have the desire to do so. I just wanted to make sure I pointed that out so it's crystal clear, so when it comes back around, you guys will get it. And also, it will further show you guys more confirmation about my theory of Lou being Ghost's father. Anyways, next, this is the 4th wheel that I was telling you guys about. You got the trio. This is the first group of the trio, right? We know that Scrap was considered family to Rock and the Turbins family. He was really close to them. But of course, as we know, due to false information and people saying he snitched, he was taken out. Right? So that is the first big blow to loyalty of their organization. Right? Now, I want y'all to remember me talking about this because we're gonna go ahead and go on with the video, but I'm definitely going to come back to this because it's gonna make sense later. Anyways, next we're gonna go ahead and hop on to Ronnie, right? So, as we know, Ronnie is the big brother of Unique. We also know that Ronnie was also very close to DEFCON, right? Because he said it. So, this is my thing. DEFCON must have had a trio as well. Ronnie is one of the members. Who was the other? It probably was Marvin. Until Marvin branched out and they had his own. Because you're going to see also through these videos that you're going to constantly see one getting up, coming up, and then he's going to form his own or she is going to form her own group. And then the cycle is going to keep going. So, Ronnie, his character is more so, let's see, like, honestly, I don't think he falls in none of the major characters that I'm going to describe. I just want to point him out there because his family and stuff does matter. Then, of course, he had under him his brother Unique, and probably, Unique's two friends were Roel, and I forgot the other one now, the one whose ear he was tearing out, but I'm pretty sure if someone like DeMarcus see this video or whoever will be able to give me the name of that individual who got his ear snatched off and ultimately taken out by Neek. Right? And also, keep in mind that there's very high speculation and a very high possibility that Neek will be Breeze. But anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at our next trio. So our next trio is none other than Kanan, Juke, and Famous. Now, of course, we know they did have a four-way, who was obviously D-Wiz. But just like the other pattern, D-Wiz was taken off the board. You're going to start to see a pattern of this, people. D-Wiz was taken out, right? And then we can go ahead and take a look at Rock's crew, right? It's three of them. Is it possible that means that, because keep in mind, actually, you know what? Sorry, I'm going to keep going, and then I'm going to show you guys that, because that's still a prediction. Anyways, though, we know from OG Power that eventually Kanan is going to take over. Of course, Breeze is, it's going to be Breeze and Kanan, which I just told y'all more than likely it's seeming like it's going to be Unique. Now, we all could be wrong, but it's looking like it's going to be him. Either way, we know that it's going to be Breeze and Kanan. Here's the pattern that's starting to happen. The top dog of each one is going to get taken out, and then his second in command will take over with his three and form his three people, and then he'll get knocked off, and then the next great one of that three will move up, form his three, and it will keep going. That's the pattern that's happening in these families with these parallels. But anyways, we know who Kanan's trio was. It was none other than him, Ghost, and Kanan. Right? So, with that being said, as we know the story from OG Power, that Kanan, he was ultimately arrested. So that took him off the board for a while, right? Giving it time for none other than Ghost to move up, right? So now that Ghost is the top dog, Ghost is one of those top tier guys. Now remember, I just got through talking. I talked about this at the beginning of the video, and I told you I believe DEFCON was one of those guys. So we got DEFCON, and now it skips some, and then now you make it to Ghost. Because Rock only ran Queens. Neek only ran Queens. And I believe Breeze is the same, only ran Queens. They were kingpins and queenpins in their own respective areas, but they wasn't over a massive amount of territory like Ghost was, and like I believe DEFCON was. So I believe Ghost had a vision to spread, so that they can expand, and that's part of what he was talking to Breeze about, and he didn't want to do it. More confirmation to this, if you remember on season 2 of the original Power, episode 8, I want to say it was, when Kanan was talking to his son, Sean, he was saying, Ghost and Tommy kept coming around to me talking about some stuff I wasn't down with. So they sent me to prison. Remember that. So there's your confirmation there that Ghost was trying, with the stuff that he ended up accomplishing, he was trying to share that vision with Kanan, but Kanan wouldn't budge. So he said he was going to kill him or send him to prison. But he loved him like a brother, so he wasn't going to kill him. So that's what ended up happening. Now, to Ghost Trio. Who was Ghost Trio? Ghost Trio was none other than himself, Tommy, of course, Julio, that is right, Julio, because remember, Julio was the second in command outside of Ghost and Tommy, of course. So he was part of their trio. That was their trio, Ghost, Tommy, and Julio. That's why he was given the distro position after Ghost was done with the business, right? And then, of course, their fourth person was none other than Roller. Now, I didn't put an image of him in this video, but we all know who Roller was. Now, we're going to stop for a second. I want you guys to catch on to the pattern. Have you caught on to the pattern yet? Ghost Trio, Rock's Trio, Kanan's Trio. What do they all have in common, people? Okay, let's go ahead and break it down. Starting with Rock's crew. Remember, I told y'all her trio was herself, Marvin, and Lou. But they also had a fourth member, right? That was coming right after them, which was Scrap. Scrap was taken out because they thought he was a snitch. Boom. Now, let's go ahead and move to the next one. Remember, I told y'all Kanan, his first trio, right? His first trio when he was a kid was who? Him, Famous, and Juke, right? So, and they also had D-Wiz. What ended up happening to D-Wiz? He was taken out, not necessarily because he was a snitch, but because somebody had to take the fall. Pretty much what's going on here is somebody had to take the fall each time. So D-Wiz was the one that had to take the fall, right? All right, so let's go ahead and go to the next one. Now Kanan's older. Now he is over the organization, right? Now what ended up happening to him? He got taken off the board eventually too, because remember the king, the big boss, eventually is going to get taken off the board. That's going to happen. So now Ghost is the big dog. Remember his fourth man, which was Roland. He was taken off the board because of the same thing. Somebody had to take the fall. Somebody was hitting the organization in season 1 of Power. And Roller was the one that was pointed out by none other than Kanan, of course, so he had to take the fall. There's the pattern that's going on. Now, the OG power is the source we can use to kind of predict what is to come. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the third wheel, right? The third guy, because somebody of the organization, I believe that third person has to start getting knocked off. Because we got a pattern from that, from Original Power and Book 2. Alright, so with that being said, we know that Julio eventually was taken out. That's why Julio has been here on the screen for so long. He was the third guy and he was knocked off eventually. So this lets me to believe, is it possible that eventually in raising Kanan, that one of Rock's trio will be knocked off this particular season? And if so, I would say it'll be Marvin. That's just my opinion, but hey, I could be wrong on that because Marvin's character is much like Tommy, and Tommy's character tends to be a survivor, the people that's like him. But hey, we'll see. But also, go back to Kanan's young crew, we know that Famous days are numbered, right? We know his days are numbered. So, is it possible that it is time for Famous to go? I would say so. I believe he is the highest on the death prediction list for me as far as this coming season. Famous will fall this season. I can almost guarantee it. But yeah, so now that we went over those patterns, let's go ahead and dig a little deeper to the younger generation. Now, we, of course, in book 2 was introduced to the Tejada family. Now, we know the heads of the Tejada family was none other than, it started off with Lorenzo, right? But just conveniently, just like the other ones, what happened? He was arrested. So when he was arrested, similar to what happened with Marvin, High Post, and etc., Monet took over for him, right? And then the organization started taking off. According to this past season, season 4, the organization took off once Monet was in charge. Even though, Lorenzo was still calling shots while he was in prison, Monet was the face of the organization still, because she was the one outside running stuff. So, with that being said, just like the pattern of the other ones, Monet was taken off the chessboard this past season. So, is that a prediction that your girl Raquel, because she's the only one that is like Monet, right? They're all cut from the same cloth, both Monet and Rock. And we know Monet went out trying to protect her kids. We all know how much Rock loves her kid, Kanan. So could it be that we also see Rock go out in a very similar fashion, trying to protect Kanan? I think that's a high possibility. She is not going to survive this series. For the people that keep trying to say she's alive because of what Kanan said, let that alone. He was referring to her gravesite, not her actual living body. But anyways, another thing that I wanted to point out. Juke, right? Remember, she is part of Kanan's original crew. Of course, he is her cousin. So, I just wanted to show you guys the jukebox of the organization. Now, it seems like the Jukes is maybe having a jump, but a character that I noticed is very much like her that y'all probably didn't notice is none other than your girl, Effie Morales. Now, I know DeMarcus, you were trying to say that she's a lot like the Lauren. You think she's the new Lauren. There is some similarities out there. I'll give you that. But I think she is going to be the next jukebox. That is right, my good and glad friends. I think she's going to be the next juke because they have a lot of similarities. They both had parents' issues. If you can pay attention, they both grew up in a single parent household. And they both are, well, Effie is bisexual and Juke was just, of course, all the way lesbian. But anyways, they both like women, even though Effie is also attracted to men. And I think they both got them hands. For the folks that were trying to say Effie is weak, if you pay attention on the show, Effie has been in 2 fights and she beat down both of them. Just like Juke so far has been in what? I want to say she's been in 2 fights so far and she beat down both of them. One of them was actually a group of 2 girls. So they both can fight. They both have some attraction for women, and they both are part of a trio. Effie is going to be part of the new trio, of course, but I will get to that a little later. Now, let's go ahead and get more into the Tejada family. So we know the next trio is pretty much, it's not rocket science, it's the Tejada siblings, which is none other than Cain, Drew, and Diana. Very similar to all of the other trio. Now y'all seeing how all of this is lining up, right? You got Cain, who comes from the Canaan cloth, who is also comes from the rock cloth. So there's their today. Rock, Canaan, Cain. Then you got Drew, who comes from the ghost, cloth. He's cut from the ghost cloth, kind of. And then, of course, you got, also you're going to get the same thing with Tariq's crew as well. Of course, Tariq is like his father, who's also part of the ghost. But Tariq, matter of fact, I'll get to theirs. I don't want to keep double dipping up and everything. But anyways, you got Diana, who's also cut from the Monet's cloth of the women. Monet is the same as Rock. And then Drew is the same as Lou, who is also the same as Ghost. If you pay attention, all of them don't really want anything to do with the game. But what's gonna end up, and then what's crazy is you're gonna have certain ones that don't want nothing to do with the game, but do it because they feel like they had to. Then you're gonna have certain ones that's gonna embrace it. I kind of feel like Tariq is breaking, a family cycle. But I'll dig into that a little later. I know this video is getting a little long, but go ahead and bear with me. Anyways, though, of course, I just wanted to point out that more for Diana, that's the reason why they had her sitting right here next to her mother Monet's chair, because they're just telling you that she has now became her mother. It was actually even in her character description for season 4 that she was morphing. She was morphing into her mother, Monet Tejada. So now she is the new Monet/Raquel. Now it has been passed down. It's a new trio, the Tejada family, but that's what's going on. And of course you got another new trio, which is Tariq's trio, which is of course himself, Braden, and Effie. Now, it makes me wonder with this, will Effie stay with Tariq? Because she is part of his trio. So that kind of makes me think that maybe Effie won't go with Cain, and Cain will have to find someone else. Because she's been part of his crew for quite a while now. I don't know. And the fact that they showed her with him at the end of this season, I think they're probably going to keep her with him. So I know I made a prediction, yesterday or the day before, saying that maybe Effie and Cain will get a spinoff. I'm kind of second guessing that now that I'm thinking about it, because more than likely she's going to stay put with Tariq. And of course, I don't think this one is rocket science. We know that Tariq is cut from, but this is the thing about Tariq. Tariq is tapping into a little bit of both. He has Ghost and Canaan with him. So that's the thing. Because Ghost, didn't want to be in part. That's the reason why I said Drew is kind of like him. Because, he's constantly trying to run away from the guy. Although he does have the ability to probably run an organization. That's the reason why Lorenzo wanted him to run it, opposed to Cain, who is cut from the. To be honest, I know folks is comparing him to Canaan a whole lot, but to be honest, he has a lot of Tommy in him as well, which is probably why he's surviving as easily as he survived. Because they don't think when they do stuff. But then again, Canaan didn't think at the beginning either, so perhaps he is the, you know what I'm saying, to Canaan. Because Canaan, according to Raising Canaan, Canaan did a lot of foolish things too. But anyways, though, yeah, so, and we know, of course, Braden is cut from the Tommy cloth as well, but I want to say he also has a lot of famous in him. If you pay attention, goofy, always cracking jokes, wasn't really about that life, but the life found him, kind of, you know what I'm saying? So, I said all of this to say, remember I kept telling y'all about how it was a trio, and then they had that fourth member. So, that's going on. It makes me wonder, because they kind of already, Tariq kind of already have had that, because his sister was killed, if you pay attention. That probably was his fourth person that was already attached. That's knocked off. Canaan, we already showed what his was. I told you with Raquel. I told you with Ghost. But now that we're down to the trios, it lets you know who would be the first. It makes you wonder who would be the first to go as far as the trios go. And if I had to guess with this, if Braden's going to be like the Tommy, then that means he's probably safe. Which means Effie would be out of here by default. I'm just saying. But, I mean, that's just if they follow the same patterns. Because I'm just saying, y'all got to see. That's what's been happening. It's been basically the same old stuff going over and over again. So, in the future, we're going to have Tariq's crew. And I would say more than likely Diana's going to be over the organization, judging by how they were just showing it. So Diana's crew, and like I said in my other video, I think it's possible that Tariq and Diana may bump heads. Which also would mean somebody among her trio would be taken out as well. But anyways, that's just me talking about the parallels among the families and what may potentially be happen to come in this future. Now I know this video was very long, but I just wanted to talk about the similarities of all these people passed down from generation to generation. I hope I did a good job at making sense with all of this, because I kind of feel like I may have complicated a couple of these things for you guys, but hopefully, a good vast majority I was able to get exactly where I was going with it. But, so yeah, anyways, that's pretty much all I got for y'all as far as this particular video. So yeah, definitely look forward to seeing what y'all have to say in these comments. Could y'all see different patterns? Could you see certain characters being more aligned with another that I may have said that's different from what I have said? Definitely let me know in these comments. But anyways, if you're cool with me, fool with me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, leave a like, comment, let me know what you're thinking. But most importantly, make sure you share it with your friends. But until the next video, I'm